I was watching this video. I don't remember how I came across it. I was probably scrolling through Reddit because Reddit is like my TikTok. And it was a video on like how we may never find the love of our lives, and if you are someone who needs a happy ending, I don't recommend watching it, but I'm gonna leave it in the description for anyone who is interested. But basically it was saying, like, along so many words, a lot of us want love, but the unfortunate reality is that many of us will find love in this lifetime. And someone also left a comment under that video that was like, you know, I believe, or every soul has a soulmate, but will we be lucky enough to find our soul's mate in this lifetime? Probably not. And I'm that person where I would love to always be encouraging and always saying shoot for the stars and things like that, but I'm also a realist, and I am that person. I will literally sit in the mirror and I'm like, girl, you may never find your person, and that is okay. Because for many years I thought something was wrong with me. For many years I thought that my life was incomplete unless I had a partner, unless I had my soul's mate. But what I quickly realized, like in my, I think it's been like 5 years of singleness, is that when you step into your self-worth, things get very, very lonely. Like, having self-worth is lonely. And in this video, that is what I'm going to be breaking down, like especially from my point of view. And I'm talking about romantic relationships as well as platonic relationships.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so you know what I'm about. So let's get into it. So I found this, like I said, really, great video. Again, I've not really watched it. I generally watch most of them, as I am making these particular videos so that I can give you a direct set of information from it. But one of the things that I think is really important for us to remember, as we start to think about scripture, is that a lot of times what God is doing is he gives us warning, right? And one of the things that I remembered, actually, as I was getting just ready and getting dressed this morning, is I started to remember how I've never heard a pastor that I can remember ever preach on Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. I have seen stuff on the internet about it. I have seen people talking about it, but I haven't even seen when people are talking to singles, talking about Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. And it's one of the things that I've been, talking to you all about for a long period of time. And one of the things that the core element of it is simple. 5 and 7 together are trying to get us to not date nor be around people that would hurt us. That's just simply what it is. And as I have gone through and I've talked a little bit about sexual nature and how we can get locked into things, and many people in the Christian faith believe in things like soul ties. So many of you might have heard that term soul tie. And also, if you're a Christian, you don't have to pick up all of this, but these are things that people talk about. And when you start to look at 5 and 7, they're really kind of saying, do not attach to bad people. And it literally says it can destroy your life. It literally says that, like Ashley says it multiple times, about all the different things that can go wrong, where people might hurt you directly, where you might lose, if you're married and you cheat, you might lose your person, where you might get an STD. It actually literally says disease will take over your body. It tells you about all these horrible things that will happen to you, okay, if you basically are out here and you're just doing whatever, as you're living, this American lifestyle of just having sex and just being open and being free. That is not really what God, has encouraged us to do. And when we look, at situations where people are talking about loneliness and how they broke away from a relationship and now they're out here for all these years, we have to still see a piece of that lining up with Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. See, it's like I've told you all before, and I still, say it. The best time for anyone to get married is when they're younger. We might not like that, but everything from statistics, even all the way down to how people move in the world, it just works better. It works better when women are in their 20s, and it works best as men are inching into their 30s, right? And that's really the best case scenario. And I'll be honest, I'm outside of that loop as well. Okay. But what I've noticed is when we miss these milestones, all right, it puts us in a place where now it becomes more difficult. And what happens a lot of times is, like I said in Proverbs 5 and 7, there's this person that comes in and they derail us. See, we're trying to go down this path of marriage, of happiness, of not feeling lonely, and then we get derailed. And see, that's really what that person is trying to do. The immoral person, whether they're a man or a woman, they're trying to derail you. They're trying to take you off that path. And that's why I always, encourage women that unless the man is like under 25 and he's working on his degree, or he's trying to become, a doctor or a lawyer or something like this, leave him and get with a man that wants to be married within a year and a half. All right. And when you're dealing with men, it should be quick. It should not be them taking forever. And that's another reason why I'm always encouraging even the men that watch me not to be so quick to have sex with these women, because it does do something to corrupt you. Okay, it does. And people have done, again, studies about this. We have all of this new psychological data. The more men have sex with multiple partners, the less they care and can connect to the future partner. So when a man is out here and he's like around, like I said, I think Proverbs University said it was 10, and I think I was saying that it was 12, but somewhere in there, we both have very similar data. So the whole point here is, even when a man gets to the point where he's at person 13 or person 14, from a woman's perspective, it's hard for him to connect with you. That's why it's easy for him at that point to be a narcissist or just to use you and abuse you. He doesn't care anymore. There's no connection. Okay. If you walk away, he's not even going to be hurt. He's just going to keep it moving. But try to do that with a man who's only been with 2 women his whole life. That man's going to be deeply hurt. Okay. If you guys have built up any kind of relationship, he's going to be deeply hurt. Right? And see, that's one of the key elements about all of this loneliness. We have to understand that God gave us this warning. Now, like I said, I don't understand why pastors are not preaching it. This should be the main thing, especially because we have congregations where 70% in the African-American community, 70%, okay, of these people in the congregation are single. And even when you start to talk about the other Christian communities in America, it's approximately 50% that are single. And honestly, even if it's 30%, it still should be preached. Shoot, I'll be honest with you. Look at the situation with Lot, okay, and Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, God was willing to save one family. Okay, so why is it that pastors will get in front of their congregation week after week after week after week and never feel the call of God on them to talk to, even if it's just 5% of their congregation, but they never talk about this?
I have been single for a little over 5 years, with about 2 or 3 of those years being intentional. And I say that they were intentional, being that I just cut off all communication. I was not open to meeting new people because I knew that I needed to heal myself. I recognized in myself, like, I was seeking out what I had just left. And that is because I did not do the internal work. So I was attracting exactly what it is that I had before because it was comfortable and convenient. And so
I kind of want to stop her right there because I'm glad that she said that, because that's one of the things that I'm always telling you all about. Okay, we tend to not only attract what we're used to, but we have to remember, especially for the women, okay, that watch, a lot of times, okay, the problem is you want the same energy, okay, in a different body. You're believing just because this energy is in a different body that you're going to be okay. It doesn't work that way. You have to literally start over, right? And so at that point, it's going to be weird. It's going to be different. It's not going to feel, right to you, right? And you're going to have to learn how to love a different energy. But the most important thing is, does the man treat you well? Are you walking in peace? Do you have problems? Is this guy acting crazy or anything like that? And one of the best things about this is it gives you the opportunity to kind of sit back and look, because now you're not infatuated. You're not locked up in the energy. Okay. Now, like I said, you can grow chemistry with anyone, All right. But you have to be willing to put in the work.
of course, I'm cultivating a relationship with God at this time, and I'm like, I have to do the hard thing, and I have to intentionally like not date and not meet new people for a little while so that I can work on myself, and so I can attract the type of person that I say I want, but in reality, that's not the type of person that I am allowing to come into my life, whether it be, because I don't feel like I'm worthy or any of those other things. It just was not happening. So stick with me here because I am painting the picture. So I took this time to, at first it was about 2 years, healing, working on myself, just focusing on elevating and coming up. And during this time, that's when I started my business, Money Boss Mama. And a breakup is a really good time for you to like boss up and elevate, so long as you are intentionally taking that time to focus on yourself and heal yourself, and you're not running into the hands of someone else because you don't want to feel these uncomfortable emotions. And I know it's very easy to do that, especially because if you've put in so much time, or if you're feeling like you're behind in life and everyone around you is getting married and everyone around you is having children, and here you are having to start over at like dang near 30 or however old you may be, like it's an uncomfortable place to be in, and those emotions are not easy to eat. Those emotions are not easy to sit with, and so we kind of want to bounce those emotions off of us and dive headfirst into other people.
I know she's using the word boss up, and I'm not sure, like I said, this is my first video ever watching with her, but I do want to caution women, when using certain terms. If you're going to start your business, be an entrepreneur. I have no problem with women being an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur myself in a lot of the things that I do. So I definitely am not against people doing it. In fact, I was just encouraging 2 or 3 women, some of the last, couple of women that I dated, to start their own business. But one of the things that I'm still always going to make sure is you should never put your business above your future husband. All right. So when he's outside, you don't know who he is. Yes, you can elevate your business. But as soon as your man that you feel has the potential to become your husband, and you vetted him and he's a good guy and he treats you well and there's no drama, there's nothing but peace, at that point, okay, I want to make sure, because see, that's really where a lot of people are making their argument these days. And you have a lot of men that are very frustrated because they'll try to get with women, and now the woman is putting the man so low on the totem pole because she has her business, she has her kids, or whatever it is. And at that point, the man doesn't feel like he really fits in anywhere, right? And a man should be the next in line after God. And most men that know their worth, they're not going to hang out. And it's really important because a lot of women can fall from one trap into another trap into another trap. Remember that the enemy wants you to fall down a trap. And just because society is doing something and just because it feels good, okay, that doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it still comes down to what is God telling you is the most important things in life. And when it comes down to it, God says he's important and he says people are important. After that, there's nothing else that's important. And the reason why, like I say, I guess got to make sure I put that stamp there because, again, we run into so many people that are making the money and they have the success and the businesses and all this other kind of stuff. And because of that, now they start to look down upon men that work a 9 to 5. They look down upon men that are school teachers or that are truck drivers. They're looking down on men that don't have the flexibility that they have now achieved. All right? And that is a recipe for loneliness.
I will be honest, I did that in the beginning before I realized, like, girl, we've got to get it together. So healing myself during these years, and I step into the dating scene and I pull myself out about three months of immersing myself into the dating scene and then being open and ready to meet new people. I'm like, I'm healed. I have a relationship with God. I'm feeling good. I'm seeing myself as the divine sees me. So obviously that means that I'm going to start attracting something different. I'm going to start attracting other people who are vibrating, you know, on the same frequency as me. That is not what happened. And I feel like a lot of women are kind of like, girl, and it wasn't what happened, and it wasn't. Okay, so I just find that the way that the world works now, especially, I'm not quite sure if it's something that's happening in the home with the upbringing of men or people in general, but I just find that the dating scene is very different. That was shocking for me because I had never been in the dating scene. It was just very much different and it was shocking. You know, you kind of hear, like, especially if you are someone who is with someone and you have a single friend and they're like, it's a hot mess out here. And you're like, okay, it can't be that bad. It was really that bad. And so I kind of retreated back into my bubble because I'm like, I'm feeling triggered. Certain things are coming up that I had not healed from. I'm slipping back into default mode where I am entertaining people that I should not be entertaining. And I recognize that in myself. And so I hightailed it out of there, right? Because I'm trying.
Really quickly, I just did want to say this because I do think a lot of women and men, you know, I think both sides can kind of get like this, but I hear it a little bit more from women than I do from men. And that is, like I said, like she talked about how being a hot mess out here. And like I said, from my perspective, it's both yes and no. It's all about, like I said, what you're looking for. Like I've always, again, been surprised, like I said, at how quickly women, like I say, maybe it's just me here in Atlanta and I'm not around a lot of different people. And I'll be honest, like I say, I don't go to clubs. I don't go to just bars by themselves. Not to say I would never end up in a cigar bar or any place like that, but that's really not where I want to go. And so to me, in the places that I visit, I do run into decent women, but I don't run into that many, you know, as people are trying to say, oh, there's so many women in Atlanta, so many women in Atlanta. But I always think it's always from different people's perspectives, right? And so I think that's the thing that I just want to say there, because I do think a lot of women believe that they, number one, that they're this really great catch. And I believe everybody is a great catch to someone. Okay. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you're this great catch to everybody. And then you also have to realize that men are going through the same thing. And it's kind of like, I always want women to understand that because, you know, like I say, I've just dealt with it. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys that I thought would not have any problems finding women, they're struggling. Right. And, you know, and I even had to, like I say, watch some of these guys because I actually had a couple of friends that would swear up and down that they was just pulling women left and right. And I remember being like, oh, dude, I'm going out with you. You're going to teach me something. Let's do this. And then I go out with them and all the women that they talking to, in my opinion, are like, I'll be real. They're like 4s and 5s and maybe a 6 here and there. I'm like, they're not trying to talk to the women I would be talking to. And I'm kind of looking at them like, this what we doing? This is who you said is out here? These are all the awesome women that, that you want to talk to? Really? I was like, I see these women all the time. Okay, but see, that's part of my point. And it's not to say that those aren't bad women, but it's a perception. That's why I always say it's all about perspective. Everybody has a different perspective, right? So if I met her in real life, because I don't know much about her, I only know this video about her. She's decently attractive and everything like that, and she seems intelligent. Okay, so if I met her in real life, the concept here is, would she give me a chance? And depending upon what she had on or whatever was going on with her, would I give her a chance? And see, that's kind of how I see it. So I'm seeing it partially from her perspective, and I'm also trying to see it partially from my perspective. I always caution women to open up their world. They have to talk to men. Yes, you might have to go through 100 men dropped in your DMs that are acting a fool to get to the one that is saying something good. You might have to deal with somebody, okay, that has their plan. That's why I'm always telling women, attach to the man's vision. Don't attach to his money. Okay, what is he trying to do? Because even right now, she has 42,000 subscribers. So if I drop in her DMs, and right now I have about 11,000 subscribers, would she be willing to do an interview with me? Or am I now too low? Even though I have a vision for the channel, even though who knows, God might make it where it's 200,000 by this time next year. Who knows?
Trying to elevate my self-worth. I am trying to be a woman that sees herself as God sees her, and walking the walk as God sees me. Like, I'm not trying to settle for something based on my wounds. And I want to break that down a little bit more, because I've said multiple times in my videos, it does not matter what a person says about themselves. You can tell how a person truly feels about themselves by what they settle for. And breaking that down a little bit more, if you're settling for someone that's not good to you, if you are settling for someone that is not giving you what you need, and I'm not talking about money or things like that, they're not uplifting you, you're feeling anxious around them, you are having to walk on eggshells, you're not able to hold an emotionally intellectual conversation with this person, or they're deflecting or gaslighting or anything like that, like, you're getting drained. Instead of that person giving you life, they are draining the life out of you. If you are settling for that person, that is a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself, right? And I know, because I've been in that position before, and it's so easy to not sit with that and understand what it is that you're doing. And the embarrassing part about it, at least from my point of view, is like other people seeing that, right? Other people are seeing me accept something that is beneath my self-worth. So that's a little tip for someone.
I did want to talk about that really briefly. I just actually did a video that I was talking about this exact same thing. When you are in a relationship, you should not be feeling, ladies or gentlemen, you should not be feeling what she just described. Instead, most of that relationship should feel like a warm 78-degree day walking in a park, like I said, with very few people, just enough people to make you feel comfortable, but not so many people that, it's crowded, and you're off for the day. You have no cares in the world. You're not hungry. You're not thirsty. You're just able to enjoy the sun's, sun on your skin, right? And just walk through and just kind of feel the breeze and be free. Okay. That is the feeling of peace. That is the feeling that I want almost all of you to have. Yes, you're going to argue with your person sometimes. Yes, you're going to deal with certain things that both of you all have to go through. But a good person does not bring you drama. They do not bring you pain. Okay. And if you are a woman or a man, because again, a lot of women don't understand that men go through this too. If you're going through that, you need to get out of that. Now, sometimes what you're dealing with is if you have a person, right, and you've been dating them / married to them maybe for 7 or 8 years, and then it starts to go south, okay, then what that might mean is that you or your person, okay, is becoming depressed, all right? And I've talked a little bit more and more about depression because depression is something that sneaks up on us and it turns us into very horrible people. And I believe the reason why the Bible doesn't talk that much about depression directly is because the Bible tells us how to eat. And a lot of our depression that we're having today is because of the food. I just 100% believe that because I've been working to clean up my food, and it seems like every week I feel better. It's like I'm like leaps and bounds feeling better. And then when I add exercise to it, it's even more on top of that. And that's why I've been encouraging each and every last one of you to get away from sugar. Sugar causes depression. And I'm going to be real with you really quick. And I know people say I ramble a little bit, but I'm hoping that some of these rambles help someone. Recently, like I say, I'm technically doing this on like Labor Day because I took the whole week off for Labor Day. And I actually, during Labor Day, I actually went to one of my favorite cookie places and I got some cookies, and they make homemade cookies in there. And I came home and I was watching television, and I'll be honest, I ate the whole bag of cookies. And this was a lot of cookies. Okay, I ate the whole bag of cookies. But I did not feel bad. I did not feel sick. I didn't feel anything. I felt good, because I've been taking care of myself. So I was like, like I say, if it was the holiday, I was going to cheat a little bit. And then about 3 or 4 days later, I was like, you know what? I kind of want some more cookies. But then the place was closed. They were closed. They were not open. So I was like, well, dang. So I found another cookie place. Now, this cookie place is a chain, right? And so, but they were like a chain of just cookie places. So I was like, well, it's probably going to be good. And when I walked in and I saw the cookies and they looked just like the ones that are in the grocery store, I should have walked out. That was really my call to walk out. But I was like, you know what? I ain't going to worry about it. So I get, my 3 or 4 cookies or whatever. And then I'm walking in the park and I'm eating my cookies. And I tell you, I couldn't even make it through even half of the bag. I mean, I had technically fewer cookies in there, but I couldn't even make it through the bag. After I ate 1.5 cookies, I was starting to get sick. And by the time I ate 2, I literally was like, I got to throw this bag away. Because they were putting chemicals in there, okay, that was disrupting my system. All this high fructose corn syrup and all these preservatives and different things like that. You don't want that garbage in your system. And I truly believe that that's one of the main things that's causing depression. Okay. And depression, like I say, it pulls out the worst of us, the absolute worst of us. Right. And so you want to get away from it as much as you can. And that's another main reason why I'm encouraging everyone to be healthy. Right. Okay, and I truly believe that that's what God wants you to be. And I know, like I said, this rambled a little bit, but it's important for you all to get these moments, because if you want to get away from loneliness, you need to be as healthy as you possibly can. And you need to be working with people that are going to be healthy. And for the men that are watching this video, it is your job to lead your family. It's your job. It's not her job, it's yours. So you have to be able to say, hey, we're going to eat good. Hey, we're going to spend extra money on food versus getting a nice car versus having, the next brand new Jordans that come out. We are going to make sure that we're walking a path where our minds and our hearts and our bodies are good.
Patterns that make me believe like this is just the culture of dating right now. And because I've gotten to know myself, I've established myself, I've learned to love myself, I've learned to be okay being alone. I just find that it's very hard to accept the norm of the dating scene. Like, if it's just we're meeting each other, we're not really asking the right questions to get to know each other and learn each other. It's kind of just like very casual. It's very much so, I'm not going to take you out, but you can come to my home, things like that.
Again, I want you guys to really, guys and ladies, to really look at the traps of the enemy. Okay, you guys really have to analyze the traps of the enemy, because there's all these traps out here. And that's why I'm always encouraging you all to look for, like I said, husband and or wife quality people. It is really important. Like, even the whole thing of being by yourself, that's a trap of the enemy. It really is. There's no place in the Bible that encourages people to be that alone. Okay, like I said, one of the first things that God said is man should not be alone. Yet we have all these people that are like, oh, I'm in my single season, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And even pastors get up and they say, oh, well, maybe God just wants you to be alone right now. Now, I understand that people have to go through healing. Okay, I understand that. But even in healing, you can have community, whether it's just a whole lot of women or a whole lot of men or whatever it is that you're hanging out with. And again, you have to be willing to kiss the frogs. And I think that that's one of the problems right now. It's like I've told you all before. Okay, so if you're brand new to my channel, here is the analogy that you're going to hear over and over and over again. All right? You go to the grocery store, right? And you see this, this big bay of apples. Okay? And there's 100 apples in there. Right? And so basically at that moment in time, and this is going to be in your early 20s, you have the opportunity to grab an apple. Okay? Because you want an apple. But you decide to walk away. Okay? You're like, oh, I'm going to walk away for a couple years and then I'll come back. Well, you come back in your 30s and what's going to happen is half of the apples are now gone. Right? So which ones do you think go first? The best ones, right? And then you're left with what's left over. Now, some people, they don't like their apples, so they bring them back, okay? And so you might get some good apples to come back. But for the most part, see, that's how people have to see the dating pool. It's not necessarily 100% bad people out here. These are just the people that's left, all right? And I'm not saying anything bad about a person because, like I said, I'm in that dating pool right now. But the concept here is that you have to be willing to look through all these apples. You have to be willing to kiss 100 frogs to get to your prince. Now, I'm not literally saying kiss them, but you have to vet them. You have to talk you have to talk to them. I remember reading this article where this woman, she just went through at random, okay, not in a controlled way, but she went through it random on a dating app, and she talked to 30 men, all right? She talked to 30 men. She set up 30 different dates, right? She did not, try to put all these different parameters on height, on weight, on money, and all this other kind of stuff. She went through more in a random ability. She was just looking, okay, are they Christian? Okay, are they a decent person? Are they cussing me out in their profile? Do they have their shirts on in their profile? Things like that. And after doing that, she, like I said, set up a date. And after 30 days, and I think that was very difficult. I don't know how she went on 30 dates in 30 days, but she did. And she found her husband. And the point here, and again, I don't encourage women to do that. If you're going to do it, at least do it over 2 months. Or 3 months, because that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't even know how you could really keep up with each person individually. But the point that I'm trying to make here is she went through each one. She spent the time. And the number one thing that I'm always encouraging women to do is to spend the time. Because like for me, I feel like I'm a halfway decent guy. I don't think I got the best thing in the world. I don't think I'm the worst guy in the world. Okay? I kind of see myself as middle. I've said this over and over again. I just think I'm an average guy, right? So when I'm out here, I'm still very surprised at how many women won't talk to me. How many women won't even give me 10 minutes of their time. And then what's funny is sometimes I'll see those women later on. I'll see them at a meeting, or because, I'm in the same environment, maybe at the same church or at the same, grocery store, whatever it is. And I'll see them over and over again. And many of them, sometimes I'll even hear, they'll say, oh, well, I hate being alone, or, oh, God won't send me my person, blah, blah, blah. And I just laugh to myself and I keep walking, because I'm like, God sent you somebody, but you wouldn't even talk to him. You wouldn't even talk to me for 15 minutes. You don't know who I am because you haven't given me the chance. And that is how both men and women out here do. Okay, when I run into a woman, if I have time at that moment, I'll talk to her for 10 minutes at that moment. Okay, and if I have time later, I'll try to, set up a phone call or something like that. Because I want to talk to the woman for 30 minutes to an hour. I want to see whether or not she is the one. And people look at me crazy all the time, because I'll be honest, and I'm just going to say it out here for the whole world to hear. In the last 4 years, I have probably talked to over 100 women. And a lot of people, they're amazed by that. But that's not how many women I have dated. Okay? But that is how many women I made contact with. And of that, I probably have talked to about 45 to 50 on the phone. Okay, and when I'm talking about on the phone, I am trying to talk to them for an hour. We don't always make it to an hour, but I'm always trying to talk to them for 30 minutes to an hour. And of that, I've probably taken out about 16 to 18 women. Okay, literally on dates. But do you see how this is working? Do you see how I'm putting in the effort? I'm putting in the work. And that's what women have to do. And people will say, well, that's exhausting. Yes, it is exhausting. But it's not impossible. And what women have to do and men have to do is they have to be willing to date people that they normally would not have dated. They have to talk to people that they normally would not have talked to. And you'll be surprised at all the things that you learn. And that's the one thing about me, I love to learn. So if a woman can teach me anything, then she can kind of engage with me, even if she's just telling me about her business or telling me about her dogs.
I've learned that if I'm not accepting these things, and that's often what I'm getting more so than not, then it's going to get very lonely, and I've got to be okay with certain things not working out. And I remember an elder person saying, you're going to have to go through a lot of toads to get to your Prince Charming. And I was so devastated when she said that. It was years before. It was the beginning of my singleness journey. Because I'm I don't want to be single forever. I don't want to be single forever. I want to go out and have my person and, go out on dates and do certain things and have someone to have conversations with. That is something that I really wanted. And it was disappointing to hear that it may take me a while to get that. And I'll be honest and say, for years, I was in this place where I was really sad. I was really sad. Some days it's just an overwhelming sadness comes over me, because I'm just okay, God, I'm a good person. I feel like I'm a good person. I feel like I have a lot of love to give, and you're not giving me my person. Obviously, if I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling anxious, those emotions are going to cause me to settle. Those emotions are going to cause me to just be well, he's a quote unquote nice guy and he's showing interest in me. I don't really like him. I'm not really attracted to this person. I don't really feel in my spirit this is my person, but at least I won't be alone. At least I won't be sad. And he might put a ring on it. At least I'll say that I was married. And I know that's a space where a lot of people get stuck into. And it's just
okay. I have to stop it right there, because I just know this video, my version of this video, is going to be extremely long. But I did want to say this, because I do find that there is a divide right now, especially among a lot of the women's channels, and when it comes to this concept of settling. And I think it's kind of sad that a lot of women see settling as being with someone that they may or may not have what they consider chemistry with, right? And it's like I said earlier in this particular video, that you can build chemistry with anyone, okay? Loving someone is a choice. God chooses to love us. He doesn't have to, Okay, he chooses to love us in our good and in our bad. So I want to start there. I want to give you this example so that you can kind of understand. When I went to Tuskegee University, okay, I was not happy that I was at Tuskegee. I thought I was going to go to Hampton University, which is the sister school to Tuskegee. And through some financial aid type stuff, I was not able to go to Hampton. I went to Tuskegee. And I basically sulked the first year. I would not enjoy it. I just did it. I did what I was supposed to do. And I even told everyone at Tuskegee that I was leaving and that I was going to do my best to get back to Hampton, right? And as I went back for my second year at Tuskegee, so I did not go to Hampton, but my second year at Tuskegee, I literally sat, I remember it very clearly, I sat in my dorm room and I said to myself, I can sit here and I can complain for this year, or I can say, this is okay. I like Tuskegee. I want to be involved with Tuskegee, and I want to do the things at Tuskegee. And that year, I did it. I started to go to the football games. I started to hang out, with more people. I joined a couple of clubs and different things like that. And before I knew it, I was in love with Tuskegee. And now I'm so glad I went to Tuskegee versus going to Hampton. You have to allow yourself to love another type of person. You have to allow yourself to love something that's different. You can't hold on to your fantasy of this person that has never loved you. You can't do it. And then you can never compare. Like, I don't compare Tuskegee to Hampton. I'm not going to say, oh, well, Hampton would have been great. They had more people. The campus was right there by the ocean. It would have been so nice to basically be able to hang out by the ocean. You know what I'm saying? That was just such a prettier campus. But, I just ended up at Tuskegee. And that's what a lot of women do. Not all, but a lot of women do that. God sent you a blessing, and then it's like you smack God with, oh, well, God, he ain't like the other one. The other one talks better and moves better and was all this and all that. There's a lady, back, in Christian Singles Connect, and she said it straight up. She said, most of us, if we're really honest with ourselves, we could have our person, we could have them right now. But what we're fighting for is for this other 15 or 20% that we want. And it's just a want. It might not even be something that God wants for you. And that's why now I have even more of an attitude of, God, whatever it is that you want for me. Because I know if I'm aligned with what you want for me, that eventually, even though, just like with Tuskegee and Hampton, I might not be happy that first year, but I am going to fall in love the second year. It's going to be exactly what you always knew that second year. And I think that is one of the things that a lot of the women that I see are fighting. Like, and again, I've said this before, so many women that I run into, especially if they get married later, after, 27, 28, and they've been in the dating pool for a while, they almost always say, I did not marry a guy that was my type. When I first met him, I didn't really like him. He's not really, what I normally would go for. Do you see how this is working? She just said it. She's going through it right now. And so that's the whole point. A woman has to reset what she finds attractive in a man. She has to reset it. I mean, the Bible warned people that these people would get them off track, make them desire something that they should have never been desiring in the first place. But it's just like with me. Yeah, there's a part of me that's still brokenhearted, deep, 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 deep down inside of me that I was not able to experience Hampton. But most of my heart is with Tuskegee. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Ladies, you have really great guys, I'm pretty sure, that are walking around you all the time. Give them the opportunity. Now, if they disrespect you, it's a no. If you're not at least decently attracted to them, it's a no. I'm not telling you to just be with anything, but give good men a try. And like I said, you can change them up. I was just laughing with one of my friends because I sent her a picture of me because I was out at a party. And one of my friends, like I said, because I had like two of them. So one of my friends, a person that picked out my shirt, she was like, "Oh, you got the shirt on that I picked out." So she was happy about it and all excited about it. But then I sent it to another lady that I had dated, and when I showed her the picture, she was like, "We got to get you some more clothes," because she was like, "That ain't working." And I laughed because I was like, "Well, then pick me out some." But see, you see how this is working. These women are the ones that control what I wear. They're controlling the image that they find attractive. If I'm with a woman, she can clean me up in whatever direction she wants to go. And I'm hoping that I will have at least some influence over, her wardrobe. But that's my point. Those are easy things. But what you cannot fix is you can't fix what's up in here, and you can't fix what's in here. Anyway, if you're interested in membership, remember it is down there. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.